Instead of a task list, oftentimes we have what's called an I should list. It's a list that never really quite gets done, but it's these things that we know we need to do, and we should do them at some point. That list is actually detrimental to your productivity. It's detrimental to your happiness. Today, with the founder of Breakthrough Broker, an ecosystem of over 461,000 real estate agents, Eric Sachs, we are going to discuss exactly how to get rid of your I should list and begin implementing things. I would also remind you and ask you if you get any value from today's episode or any of our other episodes, remember, my love language is for you to subscribe. So please hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to having you enjoy and implement the lessons from this episode. Welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart. Today, we're going to talk all about how to implement, how to overcome the I shoulds in my life. I have with me a very special guest. Before I go there, I want to remind you of something that I've created for you. I've compiled the answer to my signature question, which is, how do you continue to be a big thinker? How do you continue to expand your possibilities? I've compiled the answers from Grant Cardone and many other amazing guests that have been on this show and compiled it into one document. You can get that document at justinstoddart.com/how to think bigger. Go find that. I promise you it will change your life. Also, I'd encourage you to subscribe and become a friend of the show. I'm bringing on amazing guests, and today, again, is no exception to that. Eric Sachs is his name. The Breakthrough Broker is the product that he's brought to the marketplace to absolutely change the game as far as helping real estate agents not just have a bunch of ideas, but actually implement those ideas. And today we're going to talk all about that. I'm excited to have you here. Eric, thanks for being on the show today.
Sounds good. I'm super excited to be here. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a coworker who introduced me to Breakthrough Broker, and I was so impressed that I started to realize that there's a real solution here, right? There's lots of coaching and ideas out there. There's maybe fewer kind of very tactical, let's implement this. Here's
Right.
how to implement this with resource after resource, checklist after checklist. And at that point, I reached out. I was like, I got to get to know these guys. I want to have them on the show. I need more agents to learn about the value that you guys are offering to the marketplace. So before we get into kind of what specifically you guys do, tell us a little bit about your story, Eric. How did you end up developing Breakthrough Broker? What was the void in the marketplace that you saw?
It's been a long journey. I appreciate it, Justin. I really enjoy being here. I love talking to realtors on these shows. Oh my gosh, like all good realtors, I think I came from a past life. I don't talk to many, if any, realtors that went to a major university, got a 4-year degree on how to sell residential real estate. So I think most of us came from a past life, and I had a fun past life. I chased bad guys for 13 years. I know it's a tough time to be a police officer right now. I was a police detective for most of that time. And I left the detective bureau to go back to the street to train rookies because I love to teach even back then. So on the street, when you're training rookies, they send you to burglar alarms all night long here in Colorado. And, we're up against the mountains. So if you own $1 million home, it's the weirdest thing. You leave a back door open when you go on vacation. I don't understand why. It's like a prerequisite. So the wind would come off the mountains, blow the rattle that back door, alarm would go off. We'd go in and no bad guy. And most of the time. And my rookies thought I was crazy because I'd gravitate to the kitchen and I'd be looking around and I'd be like, look at that backsplash and the granite, amazing. And that inset sink, it's so sick. And I realized I really liked houses. So as a total hobby, I got my real estate license. And what I found is that my sphere of influence was big. I had a lot of people I knew by living in that same town for a really long time. And so I got my real estate license and I matched my cop salary very quickly. And my best friend had his real estate license. So I talked him into opening our own company, left police work, had a company in Fort Collins, Colorado, and one in Flamingo Beach, Costa Rica for a very long time. We were acquired in 2010 by a large national franchise who wanted us to manage thousands of realtors in multiple states. And it wasn't that we didn't love real estate agents. It wasn't that we didn't love managing. We didn't love the deal doctoring, actually. And so we said no to the management position, and we basically signed non-compete, couldn't sell real estate in Colorado for a while, and we had to figure out what we wanted to do. And I felt like there was great coaches out there, and both locally and nationally. So the coaching was saturated. And so my best friend, my business partner, and I was typing on WebMD because as an ex-hockey player and cop, everything hurts me. And he was listening to Pandora radio, and we're like, that's it, free. free stuff for realtors, the things that we needed and couldn't find when we were selling, when we were trying to help our realtors, the newsletters and the content and fiddle faddling with design and all of those things that were so hard and keeping us from
I lose you, Eric?
giveaway free. And that's kind of how Breakthrough Broker was born, with the idea of truly free but great content, not cheap but free, and provide the best content in the world to realtors at no charge. And we've gotten there. We have 461,000 realtors on the platform. It's the most used interactive real estate resource in North America. And it's been super fun. We love what we do.
What a phenomenal feat, right? I mean, to be able to have that kind of impact on the industry. I think anybody that aspires greatness, right, that wants to think bigger, that wants to be a high achiever, you really look back and say, how many people are we impacting? You know, how many
Of
people,
course.
how many people's businesses and lives are better because we exist, because we pursued a dream and a passion. I want to thank you for taking that sacrifice, right? To kind of leave a safe profession, not safe, right? To come into kind of this new world and really step out and help people. I had a friend of mine who once said, Eric, and I think this will tie in with what you said here, is that we no longer live in the information age. And I thought, that's interesting. I'm pretty sure we do. But he said, you can Google anything you want. Like that playing field is level now. Everything's out there. The difference is people implementing things, right? And I want to pivot kind of our conversation, because you guys have created massive amounts of resources to help people. And I want to go to now this psychology of getting rid of the shoulds in your life. I know you teach a class on that. I know that that's kind of something that's kind of why you founded Breakthrough Brokers, because you knew that people had access to stuff, but yet they weren't implementing. Talk to us a little bit about kind of how you see your ecosystem that you guys have created solve that, as well as just what people need to do to get out of this long lists of I should.
So the barrier to entry. So we have this mental barrier for any task, right? And it's the human, it's ingrained in it doesn't make us lazy. DNA of us to take an easier action. So if we wake up Monday morning and we're faced with looking at our CRM and learning how the email marketing platform in our CRM works, and we look and we see that it's 3 or 4 video tutorials and a call to support, and then we're also given the choice to have a margarita lunch with our title or mortgage professional, what are we going to do? We're going to go to lunch with our ancillary business partners and feel like it was productive because it's the easier way out. So what we felt is if we could create an ecosystem, and I like how you present that. Someone told me Breakthrough Broker was the charcuterie tray of real estate resources.
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds fancy.
Like meat and cheese tray.
I got it. Okay.
So
you dumbed it down for me. Thanks.
Yeah, so it's fine. So I love that. Now, next time when I come out to Portland, we're going to go out for food, and we'll get a charcuterie tray.
I can't wait. I'm going to be so sophisticated at that point.
So the whole idea was to create something, an ecosystem with ease of use and free. So the barriers for a lot of realtors is price, right? We don't love to spend a lot of money. And the secondary barrier is ease of use. And so there's a lot of tech out there that's a great idea and was built well, but they forgot their demographic, right? And let's just be frank, all of us are not the most tech savvy people in the world. And so the demographic for the real estate agent in America needs to have a technology that is unbelievably easy to use and free. And that's how we can get through that barrier of should to that implementation. I like to say, as realtors, we're really good at 90 times 10 equals 0. And my business partner would say that's Eric math, because I'm not very good at math, but it's true math, right? As realtors, we're so good at doing 10 things 90% of the way, right? Yeah. We're great at starting stuff. Maybe we find the newsletter and we get our list all together, and then it stops there because we can't figure out the content we're going to put in it, right? Or, it's just, there's so many barriers, and the fewer barriers to completion that any task has, the easier it is to implement.
I think there is something within the DNA of an entrepreneur, right? People that have the audacity to start a business, there tends to be some excitement around getting started. There tends to
Mm-hmm.
be some excitement around, I'm going to change things, I'm going to do this. But for some reason, the last 100 meters, they aren't as exciting. You'd think that it would be. And I wonder what psychological change can happen with agents. And I think you've identified some of the environment in which we can create, which allows
Yeah.
to eliminate that boredom of
Yeah. You
of the
just nailed
mundane.
it. So the monotony, the hardest part, the last 100 meters, like you said, is the minutia, right? It's the little things that make something successful that are the hardest for us,
Yeah,
people like me. And I have a business partner who's completely opposite of me.
smart.
So Nathan, who's the co-founder of Breakthrough Broker and who is the business side of our real estate team and the business side of our real estate company. And I'm not advocating every realtor go out and find a Nathan, but you have to. So I realized I couldn't do the little things. It just wasn't me. I'm a big thinker. Like, I love the name of your show, right?
Thank you.
Think big, think bigger, but help on the minutia. So finding an accountability partner in someone like you on the title side of the industry is really important. Finding a teammate or a significant other that's going to help with the minutia is a really good way to help you get that last 100 meters, like you put it.
It's an interesting situation to consider, because you're right. I think willpower and grit and determination will only get you so far. I've heard it described before that each morning we wake up with a certain reservoir of self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Early in the morning, we've got all kinds of discipline, right? We're doing the activities, our morning routines are oftentimes pretty dialed. We get to the end of the day, and that reservoir, right? For some it's deeper, for some it's pretty shallow. Either way, we get down and we don't have much left.
Of
I
course.
love what you said of actually intentionally looking around to say it's not necessarily that I need to just grit my teeth and work harder and try harder to get that done. Maybe that's a small part of it. But what you said is to actually find the leverage, right? The people, the systems that you guys offer, the tools that you guys offer, which actually allow to compensate for who we are. The fact that we are kind of entrepreneurial type, the fact that we have the vision to start things, the fact that we have the audacity and the enthusiasm, the energy to get other people to be attracted to where we're going is a gift, right? And rather than, I think, beating ourselves up over the fact of I need to do that, is get things in place to be able to compensate, like you said, for that last 100 meters. Doesn't mean like we need to actually pass the baton, not try and run it when we're dead, right?
Yeah. So real quick, a real tangible strategy if you're on your own and each agent set a recipe for the last 100 meters, right? Literally like you're baking a cake. And so let's take newsletter, for example. If you need to get a newsletter done, you want to find the newsletter. You want to find the content for the newsletter. You want to situate your mailing list. You want to you literally click on the mailing list, upload the mailing list, click on payment, upload payment, and click send. You write a recipe for finishing that one item. So a lot, and we don't have a ton of time. Most of us are to-do listers. And to-do listers, I feel, is the downfall of the entrepreneur. And I know that sounds terrible, but when you have a to-do, you've probably put a to-do on your to-do list January 2nd, and you still see that same to-do July 24th. Because there's not a ton of accountability in our world. So you just keep pushing it to the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. And you actually, on your to-do list, you do the things that are easier first. So it's always those hard things that get pushed out. And so what we transformed into is what we like to write down as a list of our highest money-making activities. So if you have a list of shoulds, so for everyone watching this show, write a list of all your shoulds. I should get my CRM put together. I should call all my past clients. Okay. So you're going to look at those shoulds and you're going to say, what's my highest money making activity? Maybe it's doing 3 virtual open houses over the next 3 weeks. That's your highest money making activity. Because if you can get 1 buyer lead from those 3 virtual open right? So you're going to, instead of a to-do list, your only to-do will be that highest money-making activity. And then you write a recipe or a to-do list to get that highest money-making activity done. And you work on that until it's done, 40 hours if it takes. Because the idea in real estate is to make money. It's okay to say that, right? And so in order to make money, we have to complete these tasks that we have to do to sell houses, find people that want to buy or sell homes. So if you're having trouble implementing, some of that problem is your list. You're a lister. And so try looking at your list, identify the highest money-making activity on that list, and write a recipe to finish that. When you're done, check it off, start your next highest money-making activity, and you just work on that. That's your job until it's done. You know, we get so tactical today.
Simplicity, man. Simplicity wins every time. Let's talk a little bit about what agents find when they go to Breakthrough Broker. Some are like, I have no idea what Breakthrough Broker is. And we've kind of defined it as an ecosystem, an amazing resource for about everything that an agent could want. Talk to us a little bit about what they'll find when they go there, and maybe even like some of the most downloaded, utilized tools and resources that you guys have.
So you'll find over 3,000 pieces of interactive content. It's split into 6 sections. So we have a marketing center, which has, so the marketing center is super easy to use, and it has some of the stuff you may already have as a realtor. So flyers and postcards and brochures, but it has stuff in there that you may not have even thought existed. Infographics, customizable infographics, roadmaps, open house comparison charts, all kinds of stuff that if boutique marketing department, you'll still find stuff in there that you never knew existed to help your business. So clicking around on Breakthrough Broker is good and easy. We have a search tool too that you can look up stuff. But again, there's so many things in there that you never knew existed. So look at the trending. In trending, we have new content and content that's trending with 461,000 users. Also, when you join breakthroughbroker.com, it's free. You get an email every single Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. your time. Every single Tuesday and Thursday on a regular cadence, right? Last thing we want in the world is more emails, but you're getting those emails, right? And so just when you get an email, there's probably a lot of stuff that you think to yourself, wow, I never thought of that, never even knew that existed. I could leverage that for free for my business. So really the simplest way to utilize Breakthrough Broker is to sign up and look at the Tuesday and Thursday emails of what we're putting out. It's for realtors by realtors because we get about 200 content submissions a week from realtors.
Wow.
All over North America saying, we would love this, we need that, can you build this? And our content team sits down, looks at all the submissions and decides what we're building that week. It's all unique to the users on Breakthrough Broker. You won't find the content anywhere else, and it's truly free. Before we sign off, everyone asks, and everyone's thinking, how do these guys make money?
Right.
I have a freshman in high school and another one who's a dancer on Broadway, and dancing on Broadway isn't very lucrative when you're 19. So who do you think's funding that? New York is super expensive. We do make money. It's an advertising based model. We're Breakthrough Broker users in every industries like title and mortgage, home warranty, advertise on the site. So, and then we also sell our marketing software, and we run the marketing divisions for some of the largest brokerages in North America. So it is for profit company, but it is for free. No questions asked for realtors. Does that make sense? I had to address that because people are going to watch this and be like, no way. There's nothing for free. So.
There's no free lunch, right? We heard that since we were kids. Awesome stuff, Eric. I'm excited. Number one, about kind of learning more about the tool, hearing your story, and then also this concept of how do you overcome this inability to implement. Is there anything else that you would add that you've seen people who are implementers, who don't just have long lists of unfinished business, but actually implement? Is there some characteristic that maybe we haven't covered?
You know, there's a quote out there that's been used a lot, and basically it says the things that truly successful people have created the habits of doing things that the unsuccessful people just don't like to do. And unfortunately, our business is a true 90-10. Like 10% of the realtors are selling 90% of the homes in America. And I hate that stat. I want every person who wants to make a living off selling real estate, I want them to make as much money as they want. So that 90-10 kills me. But I think the 90% has to realize that the 10% does do the things that suck. You know, if you look at all your shoulds, if you get off this call and you write down everything on your should list, I should figure out my CRM emailing platform. I should put together all of the people I know. I should. When you look at the should, and so the highly successful people have figured out, whether it's in their head or in their heart or in their stomach, they have to do the things that aren't fun. They have to do the things that are hard, that when you do your marketing plan or your business plan, doing the numbers is terrible. Like, we hate looking at numbers as entrepreneurs, but that stuff gets done by the 10%. So I think creating good habits, I'm sure you preach a lot of creating great systems. I know you spoke with Jimmy and Chris last week, and they're all about some of that stuff, the systems and the passion. And so for anyone listening, if you're having trouble getting things done, really look at the stuff that's distracting you. Maybe do a to-don't list. Have you ever heard of that? If you do a to-don't list, you do everything that you don't want to do in a day, and stick to that, because it'll keep you more productive. And that's really it. There's no silver bullet, and that's what sucks about talking about the shoulds. There is no silver bullet. Every person listening to this has to go out and find that accountability on their own, but really to identify the 10%ers, the people they look up to in their market who are crushing it. They've just created amazing habits, and they do the things that aren't fun to do.
I want to go back to our analogy of kind of the final 100 meters. I think from the stands, we look at people who are finishing a race and we see, and it looks amazing, right? I mean, they're coming down that final run, and here we come, right? We should be kind of coming up on the Olympics right now. So I'm probably kind of trying to live that out. But you see people coming down, and it looks so glorious, and they cross the finish line and their hands are in the air. What they don't realize is actually what it feels like at that moment for that runner, like how much that hurts, how much their mind is playing against them. Like that is a very uncomfortable position for that sprinter, that runner to be in, that final kind of ascent up into Olympic Stadium at the end of the marathon. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks from the stands, it looks super glorious, and it looks amazing, right? They must have it. But the reality is, when you're in the shoes, it's super uncomfortable. It's hurts, and it's painful. Yep. And like you're giving everything you've got. And it kind of speaks to what you're talking about here, is that you have this the difference, right, between the haves and the have-nots. The difference between the do and the do-nots. Is that it? That's it. Either they realize that I shouldn't be the one doing this. I'm going to pass the baton here. Right. Or they just realize this is going to be uncomfortable. The only way to have true lasting success is to be very comfortable being a little bit uncomfortable, that it's not glorious. It's glorious like the highlight reel from the cameras above.
I agree.
But
it feels good when you're done.
Yeah, right. Especially when you're done. Yeah. My final question I want to ask of you, Eric, you're obviously, a big thinker. That's why you're on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Your track record of what you've done, both in the broker, both in the police world, as well as in the, the brokerage world, as well as now with Breakthrough Broker. You have a track record of thinking bigger than the common person. And what I want to get into your brain a little bit is that what do you do to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to expand Eric's possibilities? What is it that you do?
I still get passionate and excited about every idea. Don't let anyone, kind of crush your ideas. And at Breakthrough Broker, Nathan and I explore every idea, every thought that pops in our head. We don't implement every idea, but we literally listen to the ideas, we explore them, and stay passionate. I mean, I wake up every morning excited about what we've built. And I go to bed every night excited in my stomach about what we've built. And when I sold real estate, I went to bed every night excited about what I was working on, and the clients I've met, and the people and the homes I saw. And so I believe you have to be passionate about what you're doing to get through the hard times, and to just keep pushing forward.
Boy, that's powerful, right? I think there's so much that we can all learn as a big thinking audience, right? As people who are similarly aspiring to be big thinkers. Is it be open to listening and be excited about what you're pursuing. I think there's nothing that can compensate for pure enthusiasm for what you get up and do day in and day.
I watched an old interview with Gary Vaynerchuk yesterday, and Gary Fee was asked a question, hey, do you think I should, and it was an entrepreneur, do you think I should do this? And Gary's like, yep. And then the next question was, well, do you think we should do this? And Gary's like, yep. Do you think we should look at that? And he's like, yep. And then they kept asking him, and they're like, well, what do you think we shouldn't do? And Gary's like, I don't know. If you think of it, do it. It was a really good, he didn't say it that nicely, if you know Gary Vee.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting take on be a yes person. Mm-hmm. Is basically what he was saying. If you think of it, do it.
Yeah, I think we live in a society that is very heavy on entertainment, on comfort, and we've forgotten to some degree, the value of really getting in and getting after it for long periods of time. But like you said, there is no magic bullet, that you really have to put in the work. And Gary's such a good example of that. Yeah.
Have you read, there's a lot of limiting beliefs out there. And I read a really good article on the Toyota principle. I don't know if you know the Toyota principle, but Toyota executives, when someone would come to a Toyota executive, they would ask a question, and the executive would ask 4 whys. Like, why? And then they'd answer the why, and the executive would say, why? And Toyota's principle was that after 4 whys, you always come to a conclusion. And so I started using that with people. My wife's in real estate, and she'll say, I can't do that. And I'll be like, why? And she'll give me the answer. And then when she's done, I'll say, why? And then typically we'll find an answer after implementing this principle. It's pretty interesting. Try that in your personal and business life here. If someone says something to you, try the 4 whys. It's pretty interesting.
I love that. Such great stuff, Eric. I want to thank you again for taking the time, not only to build the invaluable tool that you have and offer it for free, but I also want to thank you for the opportunity to spend some time with you and have you pour into us on how to implement, how to overcome the I shoulds in my life. Super valuable, a principle that will pay massive dividends as we heed your counsel. So thank you so much again for your time.
Well, we're always happy to help and come on. And so hopefully we'll do something out in Portland one of these days soon.
That sounds great. And I want to remind the audience as you're listening to this, 3 simple words, you know what they are. They are go, think bigger. Thank you so much, Eric, for your time today and for helping us do that today.
I appreciate you having me.
You bet, buddy. Bye-bye.